Hi everyone. When I went through the videos for this course, I didn't think that they did a particularly good job of teaching two-step variable equation, solving equations with variables, and variables on both sides of equations. So I wanted to make sure I could give you a couple more examples because it is important. At this point, hopefully you're very good at being able to solve equations in just one step. For example, x plus 4 equals 11, where you would subtract the 4 from both sides and get that x equals 7. Okay, hopefully we're able to do that without a problem. Now what if I made it something like 2x plus 3 equals 11? Notice now that we have a number in front of the x that we have to take care of as well. Now we are going to use the opposite of the order of operations when we talk about how we're going to solve this. Okay, so in class I always say to my kids that the order of operations is ooh, because it's O, O, O. So now we're doing the opposite of the order of operations, which I guess is ooh, ooh. But that might be just a little weird. Anyway, so we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. We do the opposite of the order of operations. So we worry about the addition before the multiplication. You get 2x equals 8. You divide both sides by 2 because the opposite of multiplying is dividing, and you get that x is 4. I should say the inverse, not the opposite. Okay, so there's problem number 1. We can do another problem like it, such as x divided by 5 plus 2 equals negative 3. We have that plus 2 that we have to move first, so we are going to subtract 2. So x over 5 equals negative 5. Okay, we are now dividing by negative 5. The opposite of dividing by negative, we're dividing by 5, positive 5. The opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. So we'll multiply both sides by 5. If the 5's on the left cancel out, and we're left with x equals negative 25. Now for both of these problems, as you did with your other one, you can check these. You can plug back in. So I can take my answer in the first one and say that 2 times 4 plus 3 equals 11. And that is true because 2 times 4 is 8 plus 3 is 11. On the other side, I can say that negative 25 over 5 plus 2 equals negative 3. And again, that's true because if you do this, you get negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. And that checks out. Okay, so those are just 2 examples of solving equations with 2 steps. Okay, the next thing we're going to go to is multi-step. So, I'll give you a second if you can't copy anything else down the hall here. Okay, so next, what if I gave you something like 3 parentheses x plus 4 minus 5 equals 13. Okay. So now we're just taking the next step. It's slightly more complicated, but it's not too bad. The first thing I would like us to do here is take this 3 and distribute. So we're going to get 3x plus 12 minus 5 equals 13. From there, we're going to look at the 12 plus 5, and we're going to combine those. So we've got 3x plus 7 equals 13. And now we're just back to that 2-step equation that we just talked about. We're going to subtract the 7 from both sides. 3x equals 6. And now we're going to divide by 3 and get that x equals 2. In a similar example, okay, we can do x plus 4 over 7 minus 5 equals 10. This one might get a little bit big, but that's okay. You have calculators. So, the first thing we have to do is we have to get rid of this negative 5. We're going to add 5 to both sides. So now we have that x plus 4 over 7 equals 15. again now just a two-step equation. We want to get rid of the 7, and I know I said you do the opposite of the order of operation first, but when you have a fraction like this, it's like your numerator has parentheses. That is the last thing that you will touch. So you have x plus 4 over 7 equals 15. You're going to multiply both sides by 7, and you're going to get x plus 4, because the 7s will cancel out, equals 105. You'll then subtract 4 from both sides and get that x is 101. As we talked about last time, you can plug these back in to make sure that your answers are correct. I will let this be an exercise for you. Both of these answers to check out. And if you need to pause to copy down work or review any part of this, I'll let you do that now. Okay, on we go to the third type of function that we're going to look at here, which is when we have variables on both sides of the equation. So we have 2x plus 7 equals 4x minus 5. Now what we have to remember here is that x's and constants don't like each other. They're like the Hatfields and the McCoys, and if you don't know who the Hatfields and the McCoys are, you should look that up or ask your history teacher. Okay? But they're like the Hatfields and the McCoys. They don't like each other. They want to be split up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring the x's to one side of the equation and the constants to the other. So we're going to subtract 4x, subtract 4x, okay, and that is going to give us negative 2x plus 7 equals negative 5. From here, we would just subtract the 7 from both sides. We have negative 2x. You have to remember to bring down that negative. Okay, equals negative 12 divided by negative 2, and you get that x equals 6. Again, if you were so inclined, you could plug that in and check. It does work out. Both sides will give you 19 when you plug in 6 to both sides. Okay. One more of these, just for fun here. You can actually have things with parentheses and such with distribution as well. So we can do like 2 parentheses x plus 4 equals 3 parentheses x minus 5. And again, we just have to distribute. So 2x plus 8 equals 3x minus 15. Remember, the x's and the constants don't want to be next to each other, so we get them on opposite sides. I'll subtract 3x, and I'll subtract the 8, so that we have negative x, the 8's cancel out, 3x's cancel out, so negative x is negative 23. Now, x is not alone yet at this point because the x has a negative in front of it. So we're going to divide by negative 1. You could also just think of it as changing your sign. So x equals positive 23. There is one other situation when you have variables on both sides. I'll give you a second if you'd like to pause and look at this here. Okay. So the last one here, if I gave you something simple as x plus 2 equals x, here you have variables on both sides, but when you try to get the x's alone and you subtract an x from both sides, you end up with 2 equals 0. And obviously 2 does not equal 0 and can never equal 0. So in a situation like this, this is no solution. To go along with that, I could give you something like 2 times x plus 2 equals 2x plus 4, where when you distribute, you'll get 2x plus 4 equals 2x plus 4. This is obviously exactly the same, so this would mean that you have an infinite amount of solutions. There is a video from Blended Schools that does have variables on both sides that you should look at also, and there's plenty of book work and practice work. You can also find a lot of short lessons on this on YouTube if you would like to Google something like that if you just want to see more examples or get more practice. I hope this helped, and I hope everybody has a good rest of your day.